Okay, Tarang, please proceed.
So very pleasant good evening to one of present here. I am Tarang, junior contributor at Jus Corpus Law Journal and the host for today's session. I, on the behalf of whole team of Jus Corpus, welcomes you to today's session, which pertains to how to navigate law schools as a fresher. Before we delve into today's discussion, I would like to brief you about Jus Corpus and the eminent guest of today's session. So, Jus Corpus is an edtech platform established in 2020, comprising a collection of legal professionals. This platform aims to consolidate various aspects of law under a single umbrella. With an impressive reach of arranging 600K per month, this platform is a collection of growing law student needs and wants. Apart from that, Jus Corpus has also introduced an interdisciplinary law journal, which is known as Jus Corpus Law Journal. Before we tend to today's discussion, I would like to brief you about the eminent guest of today's session, which is Mr. Akshay Pathak, sir. Akshay Pathak is a principal associate at Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas. His major practice area pertains to domestic and cross-border M&A, general corporate restructuring. Sir is a graduate from Amity Law School, Delhi. Sir has also worked with Link Legal previously for approximately 3 months. Apart from that, Sir has also worked with Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas for approximately 2 years. In October 2018, Sir joined Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas and is currently as a principal associate therein. Apart from that, Sir is also a board member of Jus Corpus. Sir, without further ado, I will like to hand over the floor to you for your insightful discussion and insights, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you for the kind introduction. So, I'll try not to delay the discussion. So, today's session is mostly about what to do when you join as a law graduate in your law school and what not to do. Basically, what to do, it's not about just telling you guys what has to be done, but more importantly, what you should avoid doing, right? Because, see, usually what happens is that when you join law school, you may get totally clueless as to what you wish to do, right? Because you have just passed standard 12th. Till then, like, I think from my experience, what I have seen is that 90% of the kids are totally clueless as to what they want to do with their life after standard 12th. And especially those who land up doing law, as strange or weird as it may seem, but 90% of or maybe 90 might be an exaggeration. If not 90, then at least 70 to 80% students who join law law schools are the ones who are totally clueless as to what they want to do with their life, and they ended up in law school for whatever reason. Yes, there is that 20 to 30% crowd, or I would say 10 to 30% crowd, who are very well aware as to what they want to do. And especially people who join a law school, they have some clarity. Maybe 10% or 5% of them have some background per se. Uh, they're not doing law for the first time. They're not basically, to put it in simple words, they are not the first from their family who would be uh, reading law. So from that point of view, obviously they have some kind of guidance, but that may not be true for the others. So for the rest of the students, which comprises approx 90%, 95% of them, it's a profession which is totally new to them, right? And whilst there are people who are very focused, they know they don't have any legal backing or so to say any guidance, but they're very clear as to what they want to do. But my idea of this discussion or lecture or whatever you call it is not specifically to those who have clarity of thought and who know how to navigate, or who have some kind of guidance, or who have uh, a structured way in which they want their 5 years or 3 years. It could be a integrated BA, BB, LLB course for 5 years, or a 3-year LLB course. Some people may have something in mind that how they want each year to look like. But as I said, majority of the students who join law school are totally clueless. So, see, it's very important to understand that the threshold of information, knowledge, skill set, uh, which was required back then, or which was the expectation of a recruiter, uh, be it an advocate, be it a GC of a in-house organization, or maybe a law firm, the threshold of knowledge or the expectations from a law graduate or a fifth year student, or even an intern, what it used to be back in 2016 when I graduated, is very different from what it is now. And when I say different, what I mean is that that threshold or that skill set requirement is just that bar is going up and up, right? Because if you should appreciate the fact that each year, like, lakhs of students are, not in thousands, but lakhs of students are graduating every year. And whilst job opportunities are increasing, but at the same time, as I said, I am just reiterating so that it gets imprinted in your mind, the skill set, the requirement of like verbal skills or writing skills, uh, or any type of skill set, that basic threshold or that parameter against which you will be judged as an intern, as a student, as a lawyer, as a fresher, that is increasing day by day. So, and your competition is not against students who are in your college. A lot of times people get, and when I say people, I mean law students. Law students usually get carried away. They feel that my competition is just my batch, maybe just my class, right? If I am, let's say, getting a rank 2, 3, and nothing against people who are getting rank 1, 2, or 3 in any, if you're in any law school, if you're getting rank 1, 2, 3, you deserve all the credit. But please understand that that is not, and again, nothing against those who are not getting. I'll explain it further, uh, how it matters, how it doesn't matter, where it will help you, where it will not help you. Net, what I mean to say is that don't get complacent just because you think that you are smart enough. Since you have 40 people, 50 people, or 100 batch or a 200 batch to compare yourself against, don't get complacent. And specifically, I'm addressing students who are not from those let's say top 6 7 firms. Again, I'm not someone who's biased or telling it because of the fact that, okay, that students who are in the top 6 7 8 law schools would be, are privileged or anything of that sort, or are over smart, or they are more brilliant. My idea is that, you believe it or not, but the kind of opportunities or exposure which they are getting might, or I think I should not even use the word might, is indeed slightly or maybe much better than what the other law school students are getting, in terms of, maybe it could be anything, maybe placement opportunities or internships, and the list may go on and on, right? So your competition is not your batch. That is the first rule you have to understand. Because a lot of times what happens is that uh, you may join a law school, and within few months or maybe a year, you might do well, you may score well, you may maybe get selected in your moot court committee, or maybe for some reason, not for some reason, as in that would be because of your uh, hard work, you may end up winning a moot, some research paper publication, anything, it could be anything. And that may play into your mind and make you believe that, okay, yes, I'm good. Whilst I'm not someone who's against uh, anyone who's confident. I am someone who truly believes that at any given point of time, if there's a talented person and there's a confident person who's slightly less talented, any day that confident person in the end will have an upper hand, right? Because when it comes to taking the pressure, the confident person will be able to deliver the results on time, and the work product would be better because he has or she has self belief, right? So from that perspective, I'm telling, I'm not saying that don't feel confident or um, always be scared, whilst some bit of fear is also necessary, but I'm not saying that. All I mean to say, because see, i'll all I'll be speaking in a haphazard manner, maybe as and when I think about any specific point. But I'll, towards the end, or maybe as I'm discussing, I'll be stressing on that. What was this entire discussion about? Let's say if I discuss something right now, I discussed about this point. The in gist, what I discussed from the last 10 minutes, what I have been discussing, or which I have been stressing, is that don't get overconfident, uh, stay humble, and the fact that always remember that your competition is not just your batch, it is that entire batch which is graduating that year, right? Each student who's graduating that year in India, right? So that is your benchmark, that is your threshold, okay? Not the 100 people studying with you, right? I'll give a very simple example. I have seen students who have been rank 1, rank 2, and this specifically I'm talking about the non-NLUs, right? I've seen people who are in top 5, 10 not getting a job. I've seen rank 15, 20 getting a job. Why? Because that person was able to do better internships, was able to was able to make had better interpersonal skills, maybe connected well, maybe wrote better papers, maybe was able to deliver during internships, could speak well, had that gift of gab, or could was able to enhance his or her communication skills, was able to write effectively, or and I have seen students who have been rank 1, rank 2 straight away getting selected from, and they are non-NLU students, but they are just by the virtue of having good knowledge skills, they are able to crack interviews. But there is no straight jacket formula. I'll tell you basic things which have to be done at no cost. At all costs, they have to be done. They can't be avoided at any cost. Those things I'll tell you. So, net, what we have discussed for 15 minutes is that your competition is the entire batch of students graduating that year, and you have to stay confident, but at the same time, stay humble and not compare yourself only with the guy or girl sitting next to you or your batchmates. That is basically, I would say, rule number one. As per my, there's no hard and fast rule. What It's not as if what I'm saying is sacrosanct. Whatever I'm sharing with you is based off on my limited experience, what I have seen, basis my interaction and my own journey so far since 2011. Like I started my law school in 2011, graduated in 2016. So since then, I've been learning each day. So basis that experience only, I'm telling. Now, second point. Now, what you should do when you are in your first year, when you are in your second year, when you're in your third year, fourth year, fifth year. This is something which is very important we have to discuss. When you join your law school, it is very important to shamelessly speak to your seniors. While I understand that in this alumni base, maybe it's easier to connect with people on LinkedIn who have graduated. Let alone, like, forget about students who are in your second year, third year, or for freshers. Forget about second, third year students. You even have that liberty of reaching out to people who have already graduated. That may not be the case in law school, but that should not be a deterrent, right? Even if it's a second year student, you're in your first year, you want to speak about something, you want to ask something, don't like shed off that cloak of shyness. This profession is something, I know there are people who would say that, okay, yes, I don't know anyone, I'm very shy, I can't speak to people, people are unfriendly. You'll have to understand that, and people will talk about nepotism. See, I am not here to pass any judgments on what is correct, what is incorrect, but please understand that at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? It's a and these things which we discuss exist not just in legal profession, in all the professions. And it's not as if only people who have godfathers do well, or are able to sustain, or are able to do, or have a uh, long career, right? There are all kinds of people in all professions. You have to understand is that point one was on being humble, and considering the entire batch, not just the entire batch, your college batch, but the entire batch of Indian law school students graduating that year as a competition. Second point, which I'm discussing right now, is that never uh, hesitate in asking for help, right? If you don't ask, there's a saying which states that if you don't ask, the answer is always going to be no. So basically, it means if you don't ask, the answer is also always going to be no. Basically, it means that if you're not asking, if you're not seeking help, how will you ever get help? Right? So this is rule number two. If you're in a law school, don't hesitate. Don't hesitate in reaching out to people on LinkedIn. You'll have to reach out. I know that there are students who will say that see, people don't help, right? You reach out to 100 people, there is a chance that some person may. And don't reach out to people ex- expecting that they will help. Even try to connect to people trying to have a general conversation with working professionals. You may reach out to 20 of them, 50 of them, one of them will speak to you. You may reach out to students who, maybe if you think that you're shy, you can't walk up to a senior in your law school and talk about something, you connect to people of different law schools over LinkedIn or any social. Utilize, see, uh, life today is governed by the marvels of science, and we all are so enchanted by social media. And most of us are wasting a lot of our precious time also. So why not utilize it also in a better way? Okay, I know I was someone who used to be very hesitant in talking to any senior seeking any help, right? So I used to reach out to people who I don't even know and seek help. Like, let's say I am participating in an MUN, which is Model United Nations. I had never done an MUN, and it was my first year, and I had batchmates who had who were from schools wherein MUN was a day-to-day affair, right? In let's say Delhi and NCR schools, Model United Nations is very common. MUN competition now, so I'm sure in many schools it is very common. It's organized on a very good level, and uh, there are participation from various schools, right? But back then I was clueless, and it was an intra MUN wherein the entire batch was participating. So I did reach out to, and I was hesitant in speaking out to my. I did reach out to, and I did seek help from few seniors also. One of them did help me to some extent. I ended up reaching out to other people also, right? So this is how it has to be. Don't hesitate in asking for help, be it for internship, right? Don't think that this is a okay. Acha, I'm taking a. Uh, uh, See, it's all about you thinking about yourself. This is not being selfish. This is just being eager to learn from everyone. And don't think that if someone is not able to help you, that person is your enemy. Irrespective, see, don't make connections expecting that those people should immediately help you, right? I know students who have been in touch with me. I couldn't help them in any way, and it feels so good hearing that they're working, they've joined in good organizations, and there's students who are still in touch, right? They're not expecting anything, but let's say there's a vacancy in my team. I know that this person is sharp. I know him since uh, third year, right? And he has been in touch with me, writing to me, spoken to me, or maybe met me in any way, in from some conference or whatever. And I couldn't help him, or I could just guide. It's not as if helping doesn't mean that someone will get someone a job or an interview call directly. That may or may not happen, right? It all depends on your skill set, the requirement, the vacancy. A lot of factors are there. So in that way, I maybe I could guide them, but not help them directly in any way. But he stayed in touch. Let's say I know that this person is also doing general corporate work, what I do, and there's a vacancy in, let's say, some team I'm aware about, maybe my team or any other team in my organization. Why will I not share his CV to the concerned person? This is not helping. You may think this is helping. This is just, there's a vacancy, and uh, rather than me or that concerned person getting in touch with the HR, and the HR sending looking around for CVs, getting in touch with consultants, I just got a CV and sent to the concerned person who in whose team there's a vacancy. And now it's up to that person to take the call whether that person should uh, take the interview or not. It's totally up to that person, depending on the vacancy, depending on the qualification of the person, depending on the experience that person has, right? Whose CV I forwarded, right? So don't think that this is okay. This person helped him and getting a job. No, that person was in touch with me. I just forwarded his CV. That's it. Rest, it's all that person's own hard work. So this is rule number two. Rule number one was, and again, as blunt as it may sound, I'm calling it rule number one, rule number two. Don't take it that way. It's just a terminology I'm using. Number one, stay humble, grounded. Competition is not just the batch. I'll keep on repeating so that it gets imprinted in your mind. Grounded, humble, confident. Your competition is not just your person sitting next to you, left, right, or your batch, but uh, the entire students graduating that year. right? Point number two, don't hesitate from asking for help. Now comes the third part. Okay, third part is you have to have a roadmap for your 5 years. Whilst I'm not saying that on the first day you'll sit and think, there could be some visionary people, prodigy, very smart. Maybe I see a lot of students who are very smart, right? I'm talking about a simple student who was clueless, who's clueless. That person may not be in a position to, or maybe even very smart people may not be in a position to structure their law school journey on the first day or in the first semester, or maybe in the second semester also, right? They may be clueless. I'm not saying that, but at least have some vision in mind that, okay, in my first year, first semester I joined, what are the things which a law student can do? Okay, number one, participation in moot courts in your internal, if you're having. Number two, going for conferences, especially if you're in a metro city, even if you're not, if your college is getting you that leeway, if you can travel and attend conferences where you can present papers and same paper you can modify for publications. Okay. Number three, if you are able to participate in parliamentary debates, and see, never participate in a competition just for a certificate. Don't do it. Don't think that, see, even this lecture, I'll be very honest with you. This lecture which I'm giving, if you just write in your CV attended, it will not hold any value. I'm not here to misguide you, right? It will be a talking point if that thing comes in your interview, or if you're able to bring that up in your interview or during whatever discussion you're having with your senior, and you're able to explain that how it helped you in any way. This is strictly not a legal point kind of discussion, but I'm just telling, let's say I would have been speaking on uh, any recent M&A related amendment, or let's say a scheme of amalgamation, right? Even then, just because you write 10 research papers, it will not help you in any way unless you're able to justify how you were able to learn and what you have learned. Same way, just writing 10 internships will not help you. Whilst that person might, in for few seconds, while glancing through your CV for 30 seconds, be a bit, not, I would not even say impressed, might feel that, okay, this person has done several internships. It's good to have a chat with this person. It'll be good to have a chat with this person. Will not just hire you. It'll totally depend on the kind of work you have done and whether you're able to justify, whether that you're able to convince that person that, okay, yes, I have written all this in my CV and I know all this in and out, and I could be of use to you, right? So coming back to the third point, first point was staying humble, and again I'm repeating, staying humble and uh, knowing that competition is the entire lakh, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, whatever lakh students graduating, and uh, processing all this and being ready, being up for the challenge. Number two, as I said, don't hesitate from asking for help. Be a bit shameless. Number three, uh, as I just said, that you have to have a roadmap for your, while it's not in your first semester, but each semester should have some goal, that this semester I'll do this semester I'll do this, and by the end of your third year, try, I'm not saying for sure, but try to have some vision that, okay, I want to choose this practice area, because that'll be helpful. See, the earlier you are able to finalize the practice area, the better it is, so that you are able to plan your interns, right? So this is point number three. Don't waste your time. Number four, grades do matter. Grades do matter. I'm not saying that it as that point. I'm clarifying that I am saying, my point was that just because you are rank 1, 2, 3, don't think that everything is fine unless you're from those 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever top law schools. If you're in other law schools, obviously rank 1, 2, 3 will make someone, or may convince someone, or at least I'm sure uh, that person will have a good impression about you, that this person could at least uh, wake up each morning all 5 years, go to law school, take notes, come back, read well, appear for exams, and perform better, well. So it would at least substantiate or establish that this is a sincere guy to work with. But this is not a sure shot guarantee of getting a good job, or for that matter, being successful. Being successful is very subjective, so I will avoid using that term. But if you're talking strictly about job, then, but whilst it is not a sure shot guarantee, but grades do matter. If there is a student whose rank 30 whose interview went similar or exactly same as someone ranked 3 or 10. Mind you, the rank 10 or 3 would end up getting the job. High chances. Unless that other person rank 30 has some kind of upper edge in some form. Right? So point number 4 is uh, grades do matter. Make sure that you are able to score. And I'm not saying rank 1 always ki acha rank if I'm not able to get rank 1 2 or 3 4 whatever 10, then I'm try your best, but don't just aim for rank 4 5 1 2 3 4 and not doing anything. You should be able to, and you should, for a matter of fact, try to hone your skills. It's not just about waking up and going to law school, getting good marks, coming back, mugging up sections. You should be able to, and which brings me to point number 5. Fifth point being that you should not just aim at mugging up sections and you should be aware of what's happening around you. Read newspaper. I'm telling you, for interviews, for group discussions, it is very important. And it's not, don't maybe able to do it, provide chances. Don't think that this goes waste. It never goes waste. Right? Don't think that suddenly I'll wake up one day and start preparing 2 days before the interview or GD, day-to-day affairs, and I'll be. These things are something which grow. Each day counts, right? So I may forget whatever point I'm discussing, as in I think at least 5 points I've discussed. First being that be confident but stay humble, and competition being everyone around. Second point I think was ask for help. Third point I think was have a roadmap. Fourth point was uh, this point which we discussed, that grades do matter. And the last point which we discussed just now. If I miss something, feel free to like interject, or obviously uh, see, there are so many things that I'm just telling you the key things, just the important ones which you have to remember, right? Next point, roadmap, so I've already discussed. Then yes, this also I've discussed, that you should never ignore your grades. And fifth point being that read newspapers, right? Now coming to, see, I don't want to, even though we have a slot of 1 hour, to be very honest, I would want to keep it crisp, right? There's no point in making it me going on talking about random things which are of no importance to you. I want it to be, and since this may be available on some platform, and it may be available perpetually. My idea is that whoever is watching this video takes this a bit seriously. And I often see that, and this applies to everyone. If the video is very long, if the lecture is very long, people get bored. So I'll try to keep it. My idea is to keep it short so that the reach is more, and it is able to reach people who would benefit from it. Right? That is my only objective. I have nothing to gain out of this discussion than uh, just sitting and trying to be of some use to even 5 people who hear this out and are able to uh, imbibe few points, right? If not everything. So the next point which I would want to stress on is that uh, when you are in your law school, try to have a very what I would say, when it comes to internships, don't intern just for the heck of the certificate, which I've already said, but there's something very important. It's a new point altogether. A lot of times what happens is that in the first year itself, students want to get internships, and in the first year itself, they say, Acha, is firm mein should I do, in this firm should I do? Don't. It may ruin your chances of getting another internship in your second, third year in that organization. If you've not read corporate law at all, why would you want to intern in a tier one firm in the corporate team in your first or second year? It doesn't make any sense, right? You never know. There's a situation that team may ignore that this is the first, second year student, and try to give you work, or maybe try to teach you. But there's a high chances that that team may not even team may have work. You may not be uh, equipped enough to uh, deliver, and then they may not ever call you for internship again. There could be any, like, say, don't ruin your chances. It's better to have a structured, preferably, see, either it's litigation or corporate, start with maybe some NGO or lower court experience just to understand paperwork. Because see, you have just come from, see, I know the threshold or that expectation level has uh, grown, but it doesn't mean that it has grown so much that you are expected to intern in a law firm in the first year itself. If you're so smart that you're able to grasp everything and you're able to deliver blah, blah, then that's a different thing. That nothing, like, it's very beautiful. But if you're not, then don't unnecessarily do things which are not required and may just harm you. Next point, which is, I think, is something very important, and I would not want to make this lecture or discussion very long. Uh, Something which I want to stress on is that, please, as soon as you join your law school, learn how to use Manupatra, India Kanoon, SEC Online, all types of Westlaw, whatever search engine are available in your college, even if it's not there in your hostel or wherever you are living, please learn to use them. Catch hold of some professor, someone, some senior, through LinkedIn, through, or ask someone to get someone to organize a lecture on how to use it. Please use it. I never knew, for the longest period, I didn't know how to properly use, right? So this is something which is very crucial. You should do as soon as you join your law school, not even in your second, third, fourth, fifth year. And you may think that you know how to use, but you may be clueless how to do case law research, how to, and these things you can write down, how to use keywords to do case law research, right? You can ask a senior for a proposition that, okay, I want to give me a proposition, I'll try to look and I'll tell you what keywords I'm using. That senior may be able to tell you. Or maybe if you're interning, or if you know someone, ask. And I, by know someone, reach out to people. Okay, this is a proposition, or any, if someone asks you to, acha, uh, any proposition with respect to any judgment. I don't want to unnecessarily, like, if I tell something, people will start researching right away. That is not the idea. But tell someone to give you a proposition to research on. Use your keywords. Ask that person, that senior or your professor, okay, I use this, I found this. If you're able, if that person tells you, okay, you're able to find the correct whatever, well and good. Tell how you would have researched, right? Then how to find stamp duty. It's there on Manupatra. It's there on the revenue government website. How to tally, how to check, right? How to pull out judgments. All these are, and if it's with respect to, and this difference you should know, that if it's SEBI regulation, then you directly go to the website. If it's FEMA, then in FEMA only the master directions are updated, the regulations are not updated. For that you have to go to Manupatra. These things, people, and I'm repeating, for SEBI, you always go to the website. For FEMA, which is available on RBI website, if you go to RBI's website, only the master directions would be updated. Regulations are not updated usually. You have to check each amendment, which is not as advisable. You either refer to a FEMA manual or you go back to Manupatra, right? So these things, or for that matter, for a corporate, someone who wants to do corporate law and wants to intern, MCA search, which is Ministry of Corporate Affairs, how to pull out public documents. All these things should be taught in law school. How to pull out public documents by paying that 100 rupee, 200 rupee fee. If someone tells you to pull out MOA, AOA of a company, as an intern, you should be able to pull it out. This doesn't require any skill set. You just need to learn. It's just like how you use Mintra or any Flipkart. You have to add that company to your cart, pay, pull out the documents. You should be aware, this is the document, this is how I pull out. You'll be useful to the team if you're interning. How to pull out the master data, that is a free thing. If in a company, if you're interning in a corporate team, you should be able to pull out the annual report of the company. If it's a listed company, how to use the BSC website to pull out the shareholding pattern. All these things are sounding very complex. These are very easy. I'm again repeating, SEBI website usage. That in any information with respect to listed companies, any SEBI regulation, go to the website and check. If it's FEMA, don't rely on RBI website. You go to Manupatra and check, unless it's master direction. Master directions are always updated on FEMA, or if it's FAQ, right? Then if it's, I'm repeating, For MCA, which is Ministry of Corporate Affairs, notices, circulars, where do you see? Right, MCA ebook. If someone tells you to check some section, you either check Manu Patra. Some at times Manu Patra may also be not updated. Right. For MCA, which is Companies Act, you always check MCA ebook. Right. Let's say someone tells you to send them Section 62 of the Companies Act. You can't just Google Section 62 of the Companies Act unless you have a Companies Act, Bear Act, which is very updated. But you never know. There could be any amendment anytime. You go to MCA ebook. You Google MCA ebook. Then pull that section out and send it across. And even then, to be sure, check if there has been any amendment or this thing. Go to notice circulars, right? Go to FAQs. Just be sure. You should know how to pull out public documents from MCA or master data. So these things you have to learn, and people realize this very late. They learn all this very late. Genuinely, I'm telling you. Even in national law schools, I have seen like, again, this is something very trivial also. You can just learn anytime, but this may impress someone. This adds on to your overall skill set as an intern. I have seen 90% of students from top 2 national law schools not knowing how to use MCA website properly, pulling out documents. So you don't have to think that you are very like, obviously in terms of whatever exposure they may have an upper edge. But I'm just this is just this is not to demotivate someone who's from top 2 3 law schools or to unnecessarily encourage. It's just to motivate everyone that it's all about skill set. Okay, so with this, I would want to keep this session very brief, very crisp, so that people who are listening to this session or who are able to catch hold of this video anywhere, at least pay attention to the points. Hope this session was of use to those who would be seeing or who are seeing this video. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insight. I will like to invite all the participants to please engage in question and answer round. We'll be taking 4 to 5 questions, and the sir will be answering all of them. So till the time we are getting some questions, I have few questions prepared which we received. So if you permit, I will be asking them.
Sure, go ahead.
So basically, what the very first question which we have received as to what's the reality of summer schools? Are they worth doing the amount which has been paid for summer schools? Are they worth
Understood.
investing?
Got your question. I'll try to be quick. See, summer school, don't think that just by attending. See, whilst it may be a good idea for an exposure, LSC has summer school. If I'm not wrong, I'm aware of LSC, London School of Economics. But it's not as if going to a summer school will get you a job. So if you don't waste money if you think that it will burden your parents or it'll be a burden to your bank account. Don't do it.
Okay, sir.
Only do it if you think that you have something in abundance and it will not harm you in any way, and you will be able to get good exposure.
Okay,
but
sir.
it will not just get you a job or an internship.
Okay, sir.
Next one, please.
Sure, sir. So the next question is how to overcome the art of public speaking and how to overcome the hesitation when speaking publicly.
Speak as much as possible, even if you feel that someone is making fun of you. That is the only way possible. Read newspaper and speak out aloud. Whatever little you know, speak out without hesitation. Speak out to general people in English. Your friends, they'll make fun of you. They may think that what is wrong with this guy. You don't know how to speak well. You may feel that okay, everyone can speak well. I can't speak properly. What someone may think about me. Don't care. You'll be a totally different person if you get so stubborn that you break all shackles and don't have ego and try to learn and try to speak. That is the only way possible. Participate in events, even if you're not getting selected. You'll be a totally changed person in 5 years. I have seen people who could barely speak and they have been so fluent by the end of their 5th year. Okay, we can take up next question.
So the next question is how to get into corporate law firm just after LLB. The person has done 5 internship and is in final year.
See, try to intern in the good question. Try to intern in one organization as many times as possible, right? But if till now you are not aware that, okay, what my chances are in this firm, that firm, apply to as many places as possible. And just sending CV is of no use. Send CV and follow up in the same trail mail. Go to sent item, forward it, and write a gentle email, sir, a gentle, sir, dear XYZ, a gentle email, a gentle reminder in relation to trail mail below. And don't just send 50-50 applications writing dear sir, ma'am, sir, ma'am. Write a crisp cover letter addressing that specific person. That I wanted to have a discussion. I read about your piece, and I really liked your piece written on blah blah blah, or a deal you have worked on. This kind of this thing. That's how you reach out to people, and you have to do it endlessly. And if you do it, then somewhere it will strike.
So the next question is, the person is having difficulty in reading the Bare Act and remembering the section. How to proceed with that?
You don't have to memorize the sections. You don't have to memorize the sections. These days, times have changed. No one expects you to, whilst in law school, you might be, for getting marks, you might be expected to know sections. No one is going to ask you which section indemnity is there. While obviously someone may ask, but even if you're not able to tell the section number, if you're able to explain the concept, they'll be satisfied. Don't if you're finding difficulty in reading the Bare Act, I would see Bangia is not the ideal book to read on contract law. But for someone who has some difficulty in understanding complex language in the first go, start with Bangia. I'm not even saying go to Avatar Singh. Read the Bare Act, then just open Bangia. Bangia, I'm just telling you, contract law, open Bangia. It's in pure simple English. They explain in 2-3 paragraphs, right? Then maybe go to Avatar Singh. I'm not asking you to read four books for each subject. I'm just telling you, there's nothing harm. There's nothing wrong basically. There's no harm in referring to a simple book. At least when I was a law student, I refer to Bangia for my exams. Whilst now, if I have to prepare something or whatever, I'll obviously refer to Mulla, which is the best commentary on contract law or company law. But for your understanding, refer to any book you wish to do, or Google, right? Understand in simple language. You have tons of articles on each section. Yeah, so many articles. Anything, any random section you Google, you'll find articles explaining that section in simple words. Next
Sure.
question.
So the next question is, I want to know about the very basic process of courtroom that can help in being a judicial officer.
If you want to be a judicial officer and you want to learn about day-to-day functioning of a court, just walk up to any advocate you know, or let's say go to any district court, or if you want to go to if you want to join lower judiciary after giving exam, obviously you'll be sitting in district courts. Intern under district courts. More than understanding, for if you want to become a judicial officer, more than understanding the judicial process, you should start buying judiciary examination papers, past year papers, okay, and then prepare accordingly. Forget about going to the court for understanding the procedure. I'm telling you, your question was something else, but I am telling you, buy mains paper, okay, prepare mock answers, best answers which you can prepare. Because you'll see, obviously there are different, there's a MCQ, the first round pre is usually MCQ, okay. Obviously that is different, that's different for each states. Mains is also different for each states. But net, if you talk about 4-5 states, the questions are more or less same. If you pick about Contract Act, 20 topics at max you have to prepare and be ready. You have to be ready with your answers. Okay, start writing answers. Next question.
So next question is, how research paper publication help in getting a job after the law school?
See, it's not as if you've written 10 papers, you'll get a job. It becomes a talking point for an interview, wherein the interviewer, you will be able to see, okay, yes, this person has basic research skills. He or she took the effort to write a paper, get it published, and it will become a discussion point. So if you are able to, let's say, but if you've written something in your CV, some research paper, you should even be aware of any amendment. Let's say you have written something on FDI in insurance sector. It was published, and now in your now you are sitting for an interview. It was published in your second year. Now, if the law has changed on FDI and insurance, you should be aware. So it becomes a talking point. And especially if you're in, let's say you are in into corporate law, you want to become a corporate lawyer. So you try to write papers on corporate law. If you are interested in arbitration, try to write papers on arbitration. If you write on women and law, see, something is better than nothing. But you can't have 10 paper publications. You want to do corporate law, but you have 10 paper publications. Some on women and law, some on interpret, something else, some on UN clause. I used to do that, but that's not the correct way. At least have at least 4 or 5 papers pertaining to your what you wish to do after you graduate. That is the ideal way. But yes, something is better than nothing. Next question.
So we have one more last question which pertains to funding. As to there's a lot of colleges in India which don't fund for the moot court competition. For example, there's a college which is not funding for international moot court competition. And international moot
Yeah,
court
yeah, I know,
competition
I
is
know,
very hefty. So sir, how to go about that?
I know. See, there are people who you can reach out to senior advocates. You can reach out to lawyers who would be willing to fund you. Okay, if you badly want to participate, but don't see. It's all about exposure. I'm not saying that by hook or by crook do that international moot. Don't waste your money. If you think that it's about skills, international law, if you don't intend to do international law, then don't think that international law, even winning an international law moot will get you a job. But yes, I know, I've done couple of moots, I've just couple of moots. It's a thrill. That time you have that rush, you have that feeling of representing your college. Right. So if you want to do that moot, do it. Don't waste your entire semester over it. You have to reach out to the correct people. You reach out to senior advocates, show that okay, yes, you're not able to arrange for funds, your college is not helping, so uh, you wish to uh, assist them in any work. At the same time, you want them to fund your uh, participation.
Sure, sir. Sir, we are done with all the questions. In closing, we like to
Okay,
heartfelt gratitude for your contribution for inviting and delivering such an informative session. So we
thank
trust
you,
that the audience find it what interesting and knowledgeable. Thank you so much, sir. We found it very interesting and we
thank you,
anticipate the positive host you again, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
thank you.